Hello and welcome to Unwind Sessions, where right after my shift I give the highlights of my workday and hope to do so soon live with a Q&A right after. My name is Juan. I am an English Spanish medical video remote interpreter with over 4 years of experience. Today is April 1st, 2021. I took around 38 calls today, although it seemed like I took much less because there was a lot of wait time between calls today. So it was kind of a pretty chill, relaxed day. There were a lot of pretty short calls, which that also made it a pretty chilled and relaxed day. So it was okay today. So I'll just get right to it. There wasn't really that many hard things today. It was a pretty simple day, but I'm still gonna give you some highlights that are worth mentioning. Today, um, one of the sessions was with a provider that was trying to update the medication list for a patient, and when the lady was giving the name of her medication, she was spelling out the medications, and on the second medication, she actually spelled out, she thought that the name of the medication was may cause dizziness. And I let the provider know, and she let the lady know. She said, "Oh, go ahead and tell her that if that is causing her dizziness, ask her, but tell her that that is not the name of the medication. To actually give me the name of the medication." And I asked the lady if that was causing her dizziness and that that was not the name of the medication. And she went on to give this very long explanation of why it wasn't causing dizziness. And I let the provider know, and the lady like just couldn't find the name of the medication. And she said, "Well, okay, just let her know that she needs to bring all of her medication tomorrow to the appointment and not to take any medication until she gets here. They check her medication and they let her know what she needs to take because she's struggling with the medication and we're not able to understand what medication she is taking, so I don't want to risk it." And that was that. I told the lady that she needed to take her medication, and we just moved on to the rest of the call, and it went fine. The reason why I'm mentioning this is because the lady spelled out may cause dizziness, and I found that funny, but at the same time, I found it bad that this lady didn't know the medications that she was taking. And sometimes you're going to be faced with this. This time there wasn't much of a problem, but sometimes they will request somebody else or they will find another way to actually get the names of the medications, and it will be a tough call. But this time I was lucky and it was pretty easy, and they were able to do it that way. But you might get it sometimes where the person doesn't even know the name of the medication and they might be spelling it, or they will go around the issue, and they will give you this long explanation of why they don't know the name of the medication, and then the provider is just guessing. So if that ever happens, just remember that you need to be patient and just communicate everything that's going on. Anyways, moving on to the second part, to the second highlight of the day. For some reason, the first half of my morning was filled with really rude people. Not just the providers or not just the patients, but it was a combination of both. Like they didn't care what the other person was saying, and then they were just interrupting each other and not letting me work. And that really did annoy me. It really did get very annoying because they did not let me work and they did not understand each other. And if they would have just let me interpret, everything would have been smoother. But of course they didn't. So when this happens, this is really gonna test your patience, and I hope that you can keep patient, and that you are able to communicate well, and that you are able to help everyone in the best way possible. And just remember not to lose your cool, because we all have all our bad days. And today I just got a lot of people bad days, I guess. Oh, and another thing that happened. This had never, ever, 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 ever happened before. As soon as I answered the session, the lady was on the screen yelling. She was yelling, no, no, no. And then she got quiet when I introduced myself to her. And then she kept on saying, no, no, no. And she had a cane. And she kept on hitting the iPad with the cane. And then the provider was all like, oh, I'm sorry. I thought I could get her to speak, or I don't know what he needed. I don't remember what he said, but he's all like, but I guess we're not gonna get much out of her. And she, like, even the iPad was away from her, and she still tried to hit it. I don't know what was going on with her. I hope everything went well. But yeah, this was something. Like, it didn't even last a minute. The lady was just yelling, saying no, and hitting the iPad. So that was pretty wild. And another thing that happened today was that I had a very jolly doctor. He was very happy and everything. He had an accent. I couldn't see his face or anything. I only saw like his body, and he had like an Asian accent. I really Asian. Could be any Asian country. I really don't know where he was from. But the thing is that when I didn't understand them, he was pretty nice and he didn't get mad. He would just repeat what he said, and he didn't think much of it. I've had other providers that get really mad when you don't understand their accent, and they yell, and they just make a big fuss. I've even had providers hang up on me because sometimes I couldn't understand them. Of course, you're not supposed to tell them you don't understand them. You could just say, "Oh, sorry, this is the interpreter. Would you mind repeating that, please?" Or you could also say, if you really can't understand them many times, you can also be use the following: "I am sorry, the session is cutting out a lot, or the reception is bad. Whatever, blame the reception, but never their accent." And tell them, "Could you please repeat what you said?" And they will do so. But like I said, sometimes they get mad, and um, they might hang up on you. It has only happened a little bit, but most of the time they do get mad. But I wanted to give this as the highlight because the doctor was pretty nice and he didn't understand. And another thing that I loved about him is that he was speaking in really short segments, and one of the times he said, "Okay, I think I'm gonna stop there so I can give you a chance to interpret." And I really love that. Thank you, doctor. You did awesome. I know you're never gonna see this video, but that would be great if all of them were like that. And but I understand. I mean, the stressful job that they have, and of course, sometimes they're gonna be rushing. Sometimes they're gonna have a bad day, and we're all human, and I don't blame them. But I wish every doctor or every provider or everyone that I interpret for was as understanding as this gentleman. And one last thing that I'm going to talk about today is something that I have noticed. I do hear this a lot, and this is the providers that are saying it. Like, for example, when they ask a question when they're like screening the patient, like when they ask them, "Have you ever suffered an injury before in the past?" And that's just like too much wording. Like, you could only say, "Have you ever had an injury in the past? Have you ever suffered an injury before?" And I also used to use this, and I didn't catch it until I was actually writing some scripts, and I answered the question. I asked the question in the script like that because I'm so used to hearing it like that, that's the way that I asked it. And then when I put it before in the past, and then I actually went into thinking, I was like, well, if it happens before, or if it happens in the past, that means it's happened before now. I don't think something could happen like before in the future, right? Or actually, it could. It could happen before in the future. Something could happen before in the future, actually. Before in the past, before in the future. But, well, but if something has happened before, it has to be in the past, right? You can't ask someone, has something happened before? And they're gonna think tomorrow? I don't think so, right? Or has something happened in the past and it's not going to happen in the future, right? So you can't say, has something happened before in the future? Because you don't know. The only way that something could happen before in the future is if you say, okay, tomorrow before you take your medication, then that is something in the future that's happening before taking the medication. But if you're asking if something happened before, then that's it. Or something happened in the past, you don't need to say before in the past. That's just a little too much wording. Of course, I'm not an authority on the subject, but it's common sense. I actually looked it up, and it mentions that before and in the past are the same. But like I mentioned before, could actually happen in another tense, not just in the past. It could also happen in the future if it's before something in a consecutive order. But yeah, so I'm sorry about rambling on about before in the past. So that's pretty much it for today. I hope you enjoyed today. Today there was nothing uh, like a discussion the other days, but I hope you learned something from this, or at least had fun listening and rambling on to me before in the past. All right, so that will be it for me today. Please leave your questions and comments, and I will answer a couple of them on the next session. I really hope to be answering questions soon. And remember that I'll be here live every Monday through Friday from 6 p.m. to around 6:20 p.m. Mountain Time in the future. Thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe if you liked the video and have not done so for more content. And don't forget to share. Thank you and happy interpreting. Goodbye. Still recording?